I never made time to get the proper rest. So I think first it started with me just like sleeping, almost like hibernating for a couple of days or so. But that definitely helped. Then once you're done, so you can only sleep for so much, and once you actually get up, I'd say, me and my wife, we've been doing a lot of puzzles, um, and playing board games. So we go over one of our buddies' house and we play different board games. So I'd say like puzzles, board games. I play video games for a little while. I have an Xbox, but I never play it. Like I never have time to do things at home because I've always been on the go all the time. So lately it's been more of, I guess, almost like being a normal person, like doing things that like I wouldn't normally have time to do. Now there's no excuse. Well, not necessarily no excuse, but there's plenty of time. There had been plenty of time, so just started doing pretty much anything to just to keep yourself occupied.
Mhm. Absolutely. And, obviously the other thing that's going on, the protests, the Black Lives Matter movement, the police brutality we've seen, as an African-American fighter in the UFC has been fairly quiet about this. We've seen other leagues really stepping up and other teams, speaking on it and how they're not going to stand for it. Obviously, in America, we've seen police brutality and racism on a daily basis for years and years. I mean, if you just want to get into that for a minute.
So when it comes to that, that's kind of like a touchy situation. Everybody's got different views, and um, it's hard for me to like. I know the media does a lot of. They take little things and they run with it every now and then. And obviously, I'm African American. I'm aware that there are some issues that of anyone with skin color is treated differently sometimes. But I think it's mostly it's all about how you act as well, and it's certain situations where with the whole like Black Lives thing, for me, it's like one of these things where I truly think that in order for to get people to could be law enforcement, could be other people, when it comes to someone of color, of black, brown, whatever, someone of any ethnicity, is to at first, for at the beginning, you need to make sure that you yourself are carrying yourself as a good human being. And I think overall, as a group of people, I think with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, I think the key to helping end some of the racism is, for one, like black on black crime. That's one thing that it's something that I don't watch the news much, so I don't know if Black Lives Matter as a movement is if that's something they've really been hitting on, and that just didn't get as much media coverage as the police brutality things and things like that. But I think something like that is really something that is going to help get people behind the fact that there are certain issues. Once you, because the first thing people are going to say, well, what about black people killing black people, or brown people killing all these different certain races killing each other. I feel like to get anybody to agree or say, what can I do to help you, would be to, as a community as a whole, specific community, getting your issues together first and showing that you care about your own community and that you care and want to help, not just your people, because I don't see myself as wanting to only help black people or brown people or anybody of any ethnicity, any specific ethnicity, because I've got friends of all races, religions, colors, occupations. I've got a lot of friends that are police officers. So it's hard for me to sit here and, say that all police officers are bad. That's just like saying, somebody saying that all black people are bad, all white people are racist, all Hispanic people are illegal aliens, or, something crazy like that. So I think as a whole, we all, as long as there's good and bad, as long as there's bad people, as long as there's ignorant people, dumb people, there's going to be racism. So how you take it, what you do with it, is all on the person that's being put in that situation.
Absolutely. And I think that, like you said, I think you got to see people as people and, treat them that way. So, I mean, let's jump into some UFC stuff. I mean, January, you had your UFC debut pretty much close to home. You fought a lot of CES, you fought in Rhode Island, you fought all over the place, really, California. This was I think you had told me this is one of your closer fights to home. I mean, take me back through it. I know it ends up in a loss, but as you've had time now to look back on it, what are the feelings towards it?
It was, overall, it was an amazing experience. The only thing, it was very close to perfect. Only thing that would have made it perfect, obviously, is if I would have won.
Mm-hmm.
But man, just getting to, first of all, make my debut, which is, I've been thinking about this moment, dreaming about it for my entire life, pretty much, and to get to do that in the perfect setting where everybody that I know, my friends from high school, college, people that where I live now, different things like that. Everybody from every stage of my life got to be there. And one of the cool parts too is I was a second fight. So if you've ever been to a UFC fight, you know that not everybody comes to the very beginning, and the crowd isn't like massive from the beginning to end. So you could hear everybody that was there for me. It was almost like it sounded like everybody was there for me, and the fact that there's some people that I didn't even know. They saw that somebody from Virginia or somebody that had fought in North Carolina a couple of times had was on the card, so they just cheered for me just because I was from America too, because he's from Wales. So just hearing all the chants, it was a roller coaster of emotions. It was amazing though. I can't look back and complain about anything. I got to be on the ESPN pre-show. That was super cool. Got to be with Rashad Evans, Anthony Smith, talk to those guys. It was, I can't say anything bad about the experience, obviously other than if I would have won, but it wasn't necessarily bad either. That was a learning experience. That was something that, I take that and I'll learn from it. And the next time I'm out, I'll be a better person and a better fighter.
Yep, and it's something that hasn't happened for you for I think 7 fights previously. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's So has anything changed for you? Now that you have I've talked to you so many times when you were a CES fighter. Now you've got that UFC fighter. I mean, has training camps changed? Has anything changed? Has your mindset changed?
Not really. I mean, it's been the same. It's kind of hard to, um, sometimes I kind of forget, which I guess I don't want to ever get to where I'm in the UFC now, so no, everything's going to change. At the end of the day, I have to do everything that I've done leading up to this, everything, the same mindset, all that has to stay the same because that's what's got me to this point and that's what's made me who I am. So either way, I've got to go in the gym. I got to give, 120%, and I've got to look to be better and a better person, a better fighter. So, other than that, other than people, um, other people making a big deal out of it, I think it's super cool that, especially fight fans and then people like where I live in like other small towns, and for them to say, "Hey, I went to high school with him," or you know, some of my really good friends, they can say, "Oh yeah, one of my really good friends fights in the UFC," So, other than that, it's everything's pretty much been the same as far as I can, as far as I can say.
Awesome. Now, do we have any news coming up? Do we have anything about a UFC Fight Island trip for Tony Gravely?
No, I haven't. I got offered fights for, I think it was May or anywhere between May and June. I could have fought, but our gym's been shut down and
Mhm.
haven't really had um, the chance to train like I want to be confident for a fight. And it's one of those things where it could be that if sometimes when you lose a fight, you try to you somehow sometimes second guess yourself. So it could be that realistically I was fine in the fight, but feel like that was a much needed break, um, just to kind of get myself together. So I'm looking to. I would like to fight in August. I'm actually um, beginning next Friday. My wife and I we're gonna be moving down to Florida, and which is it's bittersweet. It's one of those things where we move somewhere that's we've always lived in small towns in Virginia, and now we're going to be moving to Florida and live in completely different area. So that's exciting. And I'll be training an American top team, and I'll get the chance to train with some really tough fighters, some really good coaches. And, it's bittersweet because I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to leave my gym, everybody that's helped me get here. So it's bittersweet, but, we're excited. And I think that, it's only going to help me grow overall.
And that was one of my other questions. I saw, you have told me that you are in a move, and I saw on Twitter it was Florida, and so I was gonna say, is that a American top team based move? And it looks like you just answered that for me.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited. I've been down a couple times, and I really like the guys when I came down. Um, the coaches, the teammates, the fighters, everybody. They kind of kept in touch with me throughout I think the last time I went was like maybe like beginning to middle of last year, and they've kind of been keeping in touch and wishing me good luck on fights, congratulating me on fights. So they've been really supportive, and I'm excited to be around another group of people that um, are looking to do big things, that are a good positive light. And I've been very fortunate. I've been surrounded by a lot of really good people, and I can just keep meeting good people. So I'm excited to keep the ball rolling, meet some new people, and see how much I can grow from this new journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some top dominant names down there. So I'm excited to see, what it does for you. So obviously in this time, the bantamweight division has been making insane moves here. I mean, you look at just a couple cards ago, Sean O'Malley's knockout, Cody Garbrandt's knockout, Aljamain Sterling. I mean, speak on the division right now and how exciting it is, and where do you see yourself? Who would you like next?
Yeah, like you said, the division's. I mean, it's really exciting. It's got some tough guys, and I'm proud to be in that division because I know that there's a lot of tough competitors that I could possibly go against, and it's not easy. And that's what I want. That's the main reason. One of the main reasons why I wanted to be in the UFC, because I want the best of the best. So when I make it to the top, I know that I'm the best because I've beaten the best. So haven't really thought about exactly any of who that I wanted next, but I do know that um, whenever I fight again, I'm looking to climb to the top. I haven't really sat down and kind of picked a person that's who I wanted to fight. I've just been kind of focusing on myself, getting myself together. But I think that my last, obviously I wasn't necessarily um, proud of the last fight, even though it was a good scrap and against a very tough opponent who I think should be in the top 15. He's a tough guy. He actually was in top 15 at one point, and I think he had a layoff due to injury, and other fighters were active, and it kind of kicked him out of it. But realistically, I think right now, I think I am top 15 talent right now, but my goal is by the end of the next year, I want to be top 5, top 10, and you know that just starts with getting back in the winning column one, and just continuing to grow and get better, and whenever I get somebody with a number beside their name, then take them out, and so I can get me a number.
Yeah, and like you said, Brett Johns was a top 15 guy, and I mean, if you look, his last two fights before you were, Pedro Munhoz and Aljamain Sterling, who's going to be fighting for a title shot. So I mean, for them to take Tony Gravely in his first UFC debut fight and put him against a guy like Brett Johns, I think it shows how much promise they have in you, as a prospect.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of good things I can take. Well, good and bad I can take away from that fight. One good thing is, like, I know how tough he was, and I knew it was going to be tough going in there, and I could have said no, I don't want to fight him. I want to wait and fight somebody that's not as tough. Somebody that's coming off losses to just he was coming off losses, but obviously those weren't just any old losses. So. But I knew it was going to be tough, and that was a fight that I was confident that I could win, and I still am confident that was a winnable fight. Some fights go your way, some fights don't. especially when it's a matter of inches. I could have been one position away from finishing that, from winning that fight, and that's just how it goes. But it's a good way to kind of gauge yourself and where you are, because when you've never fought on that stage or never fought anyone else that's been on that stage, um, you can think that you're here or there, but until you get in get in the octagon and you compete against someone that who you've seen fight against the best, that's the true test of where you can actually place yourself.
Absolutely, man. Well, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate this, Tony. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And I look forward to the move down to ATT, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in August or, in the fall.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
always supporting me
Absolutely.
and always give me the platform.
Absolutely, man. I hope you well. I wish you well, and keep staying safe till this is all over.
Thank you, buddy.
Awesome.
You too.